Mandel here at the People and Entertainment Weekly studio at the Toronto International Film Festival. I am here with the star of the Banshees of Inisherin, Kerry Condon. I'm so excited to talk about this movie. It took the Venice Film Festival by storm, a 13-minute standing ovation, and now it has arrived in Toronto where people are very excited to see it. What was the Venice reception like?
Oh, it was really beautiful because it was the second time I'd seen the movie, so I was able to watch it a little bit removed, you know, as opposed to just kind of being too involved in it. So I was kind of there was moments was upset because it's quite moving, the movie. So when the lights came up, I was still sort of in the film and I felt like I was going to start crying. But it was beautiful because most people didn't have their phones out. Mm. You know, so they were genuinely looking and genuinely clapping and seemed like they had been, you know, got the movie and were moved. So it was really, really special. I didn't feel like 13 minutes, to be honest, but then my brother was behind me and he was like, yeah, well, if you were clapping, let me tell you something, it felt like 13 minutes because his hands were killing him.
So let's talk a little bit about the movie itself. This is about two men going through a specific kind of heartbreak, which is the end of a friendship. And in it, Colin Farrell plays your brother. He and Brendan Gleeson are just going through this terrible moment in their lives, in their friendship. And you play Colin Farrell's sister, trying to support him through this very confusing moment. Do you think this film is kind of a commentary on how men don't really talk about their feelings very well?
I don't think so, no, because in all fairness to Brendan's character, he has the guts to say to Pádraig, Colin, my brother, that he doesn't want to be friends with him. Like, he doesn't ghost him. He actually has the guts to go, listen, I don't like you anymore. I don't want to hang out with you. So there's a kind of, I admire his honesty. I suppose it's just more, I think like it could be the same for women or men, you know, regardless of the gender. I feel like it's kind of just a human thing. And I feel like we'll all understand it too because it's kind of similar to a breakup. You know, if you haven't fallen out with a friend, you've certainly had a relationship breakup. Like everyone's experienced it in some form.
And this was not your first experience with director Martin McDonagh. You had been in 3 Billboards before, and I'm curious how this experience was different from that for you and kind of the conversations you had about the film going into it.
Well, to be honest with you, 3 Billboards was really just him, you know, saying, do you want to come out and hang out and do this movie? Because I had done 3 other plays with him before. Like when I was 17 was the first time I'd done a play with him. And this film, The Banshees, is quite like his plays. So it just felt like a little extension of that and a kind of a natural progression for me as an actress because it felt like it was a part like of his plays but a bit more mature and a little harder to play. Like I don't think I could have played it when I was 18 years old, this part. So we didn't speak about it much, just a little bit in terms of like certain lines or something that were kind of similar to the characters I'd done in the plays that we felt weren't right for Siobhan. But ultimately he's really just lets me go with my instinct and then he sort of fine-tunes it a bit, but it's really just kind of do what I would do naturally.
And this film does go to a darker, slightly bloodier place, which we won't talk about.
Yeah.
But it's unexpected, and I think that's part of the fun for the audience. So what was your first reaction? We can speak maybe broadly about it, but what was your first reaction to where this dark breakup goes?
Oh, well, it's Martin McDonagh, so you know it's going to go dark. I mean, if you've read the plays, which everybody should read his plays, they're so amazing. There's always dark elements in them, and yeah, so I wasn't one bit surprised, to be honest with you. But he's just funny the way he, you know, kind of, you're laughing, but you're kind of wondering why you're laughing. Like you never know what the gears are going to change. And so I suppose it is a shock. Yeah, it will be a shock to people. Was it a shock to you?
Oh, yeah.
Was it?
Oh, yeah. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but absolutely. This was Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson's first film together since 2008's In Bruges. And I'm curious what their dynamic was like to be part of. I mean, did it feel very comfortable, like a familial feel on set after all that time?
Yeah, it did, because we've all known each other over the years. I mean, I knew Colin and Martin since I was a teenager, so we all knew each other. And Brendan, I know Donal, Brendan's son, for years. But at the same time, you know, like, it was a job, and we knew it was a massive opportunity to get this job, because regardless of if the movie commercially is a success, a lot of people are going to watch it just because it's Martin's next movie. So the pressure was on to deliver. And we're all actors, you know, who are in it because we want to be good actors. So we had 2 weeks rehearsals, and it was just a studious-like environment. It wasn't all this, like, fun and games. Like, we all had worked all day, and then we'd go home and kind of be by ourselves and digest the work that we had to do. So it was serious, but, you know, it wasn't like we were, you know, doing an exam or anything, but it wasn't like we were having a great whale of a time either.
And you just said you and Colin have known each other since you were teenagers, and in this, of course, you play brother and sister. So do you two tease each other like brother and sister? Because in the film, there's such a special dynamic between the two of you. You can kind of get each other's goat and also be very serious and stern with each other. What is your dynamic in real life?
Well, luckily, he's very close with his sister, and I'm very close with my brother. So we kind of spoke about, like, why we find it so comfortable with our siblings. And sort of that was kind of, you know, easy to slip into. We just sort of treated each other like we did our siblings. But in real life, no, in real life, he's like Prince Charming. He's just like a gentleman and very kind and just lovely to be around. Like, he's just always asking if you want tea and always taking care of you, and just lovely. I wouldn't say brotherly, just a gentleman, like very well brought up. That's how I'd put it.
And I find Siobhan in this film, she's the most grounding character in this ensemble. What was your approach to rooting her in this story?
I suppose a lot of it was in the script, you know, like, that's the good thing about Martin stuff. It's like, it's just like worst case scenario, just say the line and, like, that'll get you across the finish line. But I suppose I liked having the glimpses. She kind of, you know, can't be saying truly how she feels because nobody really cares how she feels, and she's kind of a, you know, a person who kind of keeps to herself. So I liked choosing moments where you could see glimpses of her rage and glimpses of her depression and glimpses of her, like, desperate loneliness, but, like, just a tiny glimpse and then pulling it back. And then with Colin, that she's kind of motherly towards him, but also a little bit like she's at her wit's end. Like, they're all annoying her. So, you know, there was loads of different ways to play, like, things to do, different scenes, created different things. It was not one note, and that was kind of the best part about it.
Well, I'm so excited for everyone to see this movie, The Banshees of Inisherin. And congratulations to you.
Thank you very much.
It is a great film.
Cheers.
Thank you for joining us today.
No problem.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.